The problem isn't even a distraction. The problem is just the lack of will to do what you need to do. Alarm clock goes off, blah, 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 right? I've talked about these things a million times. That's what the problem is. We take the path of least resistance and then we throw distraction on top of that. For instance, how important is discipline? It is the most important thing. And if discipline is what gets people through these situations, through combat stress, through tension, through bombs, through artillery, through freezing cold, lack of food, lack of sleep, imagine what discipline can do in like a normal person's life.
Yeah, I feel like eventually the discipline is the thing that's just going to carry you through. So, and I just thought that was super important where you were like, imagine if you apply this to everyday life. Because everyday life, essentially for us anyway, it's like a straight up luxury.
Yeah,
you know?
It is. And here's what's important about what you're saying is this fact that the reason that these guys had to have discipline was because if they didn't have discipline, they would die.
Yeah.
If they didn't have discipline, they would be overrun. If they didn't have discipline, they would starve. They would just die. They would die. Yeah. So they have to have discipline. Yeah. And your point is, in this world, in this life, in 2017, living in the first world, you don't have to have discipline at all.
Yeah.
And you'll still survive.
Yeah.
And you might even do okay.
Yeah, sure.
But just imagine.
Yeah.
Just imagine if you applied the discipline to your life, where you'll end up.
Yeah.
And how much better off you'll be. Yeah. And how much more you can do with your life. The one life you have, by the way.
Yeah,
how much more you can do with that life if you just have the discipline and work hard and get after it.
Yeah. And you see it in little pockets too. Like, remember when you're a kid and you're like, I'm going to save my money for this, I don't know, comic book. I don't know. I'm going to save my money. You don't even have an income, by the way, but somehow you save all your money, like that little quarter that you find. That's like, I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that because you have this kind of, and in a way, like the discipline kind of forms itself around that goal. So you know what it is. Like, you know what that means, you know? So it's real. Like, that's a real thing. You shouldn't regard it as some ambiguous thing that other people do.
Not.
Like,
it's not
can
some
do it in
fancy,
one way.
crazy thing at all.
Yeah.
It's real, straightforward.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the first podcasts we did where I said something along the lines of like, you know what you need to do.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, we all know what we should be doing.
I think that was the first.
There's not too many people that are lost that are going, I'm just not sure how to do this. No, they know exactly what to do. We know exactly what to do. I know exactly what I should be doing.
I'll tell you what it is. It's distractions. There's too many distractions. And distractions are literally everything. There's industries of just distractions. That's the whole industry. Like
TV. It's a big industry of distraction.
Huge. And in the defense of TV, TV can be
an education.
Yeah, you can. Because there's educational stuff on TV.
Defended.
I'm just saying, like,
I concede your point.
The entertainment industry, and I'm not saying these industries of distractions are bad things. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying distractions are what get in the way of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, like your goal.
Yeah, and well, we're talking about the very fact of some of your discipline can be used to create things that are actually distracting. I mean, if your goal is to create some artistic piece, whether it's a movie, whether it's music, whether it's whatever, that's a distracting thing. But that doesn't mean that it's negative that you want to make that happen, because there's people that'll find something. I mean, the reason you want to create something is, I guess you create it for yourself, but then the reward is when other people say, yes, I get something out of that too.
Yeah. Recognition from your peers. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and when I say distractions, in regards to goal, it's a relative thing, meaning like you're distracted from your path of the goal.
I agree with you, yeah, but there's also just mentally, just weakness. Just the easy path, I should say.
Right.
The discipline path is hard. The easy path that anyone wants to jump on when your alarm clock goes off, blah, 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 right? I've talked about these things a million times. That's what the problem is. The problem isn't even a distraction. The problem is just the lack of will to do what you need to do.
Right.
Distraction can add to that. That's a part of it. What we do is we take our the path of least resistance, and then we throw distraction on top of that. For instance, when you open up your computer because you got to write a book, and instead of opening the word processor, you go, I'm just going to check the interwebs real quick.
Distracted.
Yeah, you're distracted. There goes 45 minutes. The internet is a time warp.
Oh, yeah.
Your time just disappears in the internet.
So a distraction is more of an idea, more the concept, you know? So
there's definitely things that are distracting.
Just like how you said when you open your computer and the whole internet is there to distract you in one way or another.
Yeah.
that's a distraction, where you can, like, even if I have a book, if my goal is to finish some video, but meanwhile I have this book that's real informative and something, and I'm like, oh, that book seems real, I'm real in the mood to read that book. That's a distraction, even though it's a good thing, So the distraction is like the idea. So, what are the common goals? I want to get in shape. I want to, be a better husband or wife, or I want to do better at work. I want to learn more. I want to read all this stuff.
Well, there's also no consequence, or I shouldn't say that. The consequence isn't visible.
Yeah.
The consequence, you don't say, hey, if I would have had discipline, I would reach this ultimate potential. You just okay with not reaching that ultimate potential, and you're okay with just like putting microwavable popcorn in and watching a movie.
Yeah. You've been doing it the whole time.
Yeah,
I'm still here.
Hey, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm good. And you know what? That was a good movie, and the popcorn tasted good.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's the wrong answer.
Yeah.
You don't recognize what your potential is, and so you're just okay with this kind of half potential. You don't reach your potential, and since you don't know it. And the other thing, it's hard to see how that long term affects you.
Yeah.
You're not like, it's just one bag of popcorn and it's just one movie.
Yeah.
But you did that 3 times this week.
Yeah.
That's not getting you
30
towards your goals.
times, in the
life is physically easy right now
easier
for most people.
And gets easier and easier. Even if it's not easy right now, next year, generally speaking, it's going to be easier. Like so I'm brushing my teeth like I do every week or whatever. And
once a week, whether you need it or not.
Yeah. And so I have the regular toothbrush, I'm sure there's all kinds of little micro technologies in the toothbrush, but I started to think, man, this is an old school thing. There's automatic toothbrushes. Actually, my brother told me about this toothbrush, this automatic, electric toothbrush that was like super dope and highly recommended it. It was like $89, all this stuff. And I'm thinking, dang, something as basic as brushing your teeth is way easier now. Way easier. You got a machine to do it. That's really the whole narrative with everything. Point being, physically,
you got to push yourself because you're not going to have to push it.
You got to
No one's
recreate
going
it.
to push you.